We are back, and we are back with your answer about the relation you have with the big powers, Russia, your role in NATO, United States. You are in between. You are a country which is very strong, and I am very curious how you manage these relationships.
As I say, it's a complex environment, and we have complex relationships with many different powers of the world and in the region. The basic pillar of the Turkish foreign policy is its alignment with the West for too long. This has two aspects. One is the security aspect, one is the freedom aspect. The security aspect, the backbone of it is our membership with NATO, which is more than now half a century. So our alliance within NATO is quite solid and strong, and both Turkey and NATO gained a lot out of this strong relationship. On the freedom side, meaning Turkey's move towards more democracy, more freedoms, trying to create a nation of predominantly Muslim population of a democratic state, actually targets in the concrete objective of EU membership. So this is another pillar of our foreign policy. And the third pillar is, of course, our regional relationships. And there comes the issues of relations with Iran, relations with Russia, relations with the Middle East and elsewhere. With Iran, as I say, it has been a stable relationship. There were ups and downs in the past, but for the last decade, we were able, luckily, to talk about a positive agenda in many areas. And we are so happy with the recent agreement between Iran and P5+1.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I hope even Israel, I think it's because it is in the interest of the world to stop developing the nuclear program.
Exactly. What is actually dramatic here, many years ago, if you remember, in the UN Security Council, Turkey and Brazil voted against a resolution. And that time, people again ask, where is Turkey heading? Is Turkey drifting from west to east, towards east, and etc.? The agreement that was reached recently is actually almost similar to the one that we reached even years ago.
And you voted against them?
We brought this wonderful agreement that we catered together with Brazil to the attention of the international community, but it didn't work. That's why we were voting against the resolution then. But anyway, we are happy, despite the delay, that they were managed to reach a solution, and we will do as a neighbor our utmost to help Iran and other friends to move forward. Relationship with Russia has always been very important for Turkey, and I know this is also of high interest in Romania and
very high interest
in the region. Of course, it's understandable.
Especially because of the recent direct threats to Romania made by Russian leaders. But I'm asking, of course, your relationship, not ours.
Sure. In general, when you look to relationship, it's a matter of interaction going for about 1,000 years. We're talking about the relationship between Turks and Russians. And the recent history, 19th century and early 20th century, is marked by many wars. Between the Russians, and most of them were won by the Russians. On the other hand, against the Ottomans.
Let me say a good thing about you here. They couldn't make you communists. You are an island.
Luckily, yes.
You're an island in all the region. Even Albania was a communist country. So you are an island of, I'm not sure if Western values, maybe not, but still an island of non-communism.
Yeah.
So they couldn't conquer you with communism.
True. The leadership of Turkey in late 40s and early 50s luckily had a visionary approach, and they took side with the West, and then, as you know, the NATO membership is the concrete result of it, and as you say, changed our track. We are also lucky in that sense. Today, Russia is one of our largest, not only largest neighbor, but largest trading partner. And as it has with many other European countries, we have very intense energy cooperation. Turkey is an energy-hungry market. And in Europe, when you realize that there's a decrease decreasing trend in terms of energy consumption. It's increasing in Turkey. And about 90% of our energy is dependent on imports. And when you look to our imports, about 60% of our natural gas needs are coming from Russia.
60%?
60%. And almost all cities in Turkey are now heated by using natural gas. So natural gas is a vital thing for our country. And for years, Russia and Turkey were very honest brokers of trade in the energy sector. We have never used energy towards each other as a kind of political tool.
Weapons, yeah.
To each other. And we are, I guess, the second biggest customer of Gazprom in natural gas in Europe, after Germany, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
After Germany, yes. Because with Germany, I can tell you the figures, because they were... okay, I will not comment about Germany
now.
No
third countries. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
they played quite tricky with Ukraine, but it's a different story here.
Okay. This is the trade part of it. Russia is either number 1 or number 2 trading partner of ours. It changes in the year because of this energy imports. In terms of human relationship, there are about 20 million of Muslims living in Russia. And an important portion of it is of Turkic origin. So there are inevitable ties.
Wow. So it's 20% of the population of Russia?
20 million.
Yes, 20% because
almost.
They are about 140 million inhabitants.
Yeah. This historical relationship and political competition throughout the Cold War, where we have very difficult times, because we were the only country together with Greece that were bordering literally the Eastern Bloc countries.
Yes.
It was a very difficult relationship, and there were very testing times that we felt the danger of a communist expansion and etc. towards our countries. After the end of communism, we opened a new page, just as the US and Russians did. Start with a clear page, and it moved in a positive direction, actually. Of course, there are issues that we had clear distinctions and differences. One is clearly Syria. We are on complete opposing sides on Syria, and Syria is number 1 national security issue or foreign policy issue for my country.
Yes.
The second is, of course, Ukraine and Crimea.
Yes.
We are definitely on the opposing sides of it, and we, from the very beginning, our position is quite clear in terms of
condemning
and not recognizing the illegal annexation of Crimea. We are particularly sensitive on the Tatar minority in Crimea, and we are sorry to witness that the promises given earlier are not heeded. They're closing the Mejlis of Tatars, closing their TVs, ATR, and some other implications as well. They are putting some travel bans to leaders of the Crimean Tatars. So we are following all these events very closely, and we are making it quite clear to our Russian friends in each occasion and discussion. Of course, we are talking about energy, about cooperation in other areas in the Middle East, in Cyprus and elsewhere. But of course, we definitely make our point clear and underline that we do not recognize such interventions, and we are fully supportive of Ukraine's territorial integrity. As you see, there is a complex relationship.
Yes.
There are nuances.
But, well, are nuances, but let me underline what is important for Romanians. What you mentioned now is very important, because Romania is a neighbor of Ukraine, and Romania was very worried, and it is very worried about the war in Ukraine, and condemn heavily what Russia did.
Yeah.
So this aspect, besides all the other aspects of cooperation and so on, is important that your country was condemning the intervention, and you are still condemning or having a tough relationship with Russia when it's about the subject of annexing Crimea or the war which is now taking place in Ukraine. This is important.
Exactly, and not only, there are actually 2 pillars here. One pillar when it comes to security of our allies. Our position is quite clear. In the recent Wales summit, the Romanian and Turkish delegations worked very closely on certain articles that was adopted by our leaders, especially regarding our region. So whenever there are measures taken by our allies, we are there. We have a very clear record of it, which goes back more than 50 years now.
But you did oppose at NATO to some of Romanian proposals. I will not go into details now.
I don't remember such a thing from the Brussels.
Yeah.
There are nuances. This is the second part, what I will say. From the very beginning, when the Iron Curtain was tear down, we say in the Black Sea, let's have a regional ownership. And we try to bolster and encourage regional ownership like about 2 decades now. And there were times actually it worked in the positive direction. In the Black Sea economic cooperation in the sense of economic and commercial cooperation, which helped to every country. And also in the security sector, where we jointly formed together with Russians, with Bulgarians, with Romanians, all littoral states, Black Sea 4, and our military ships together made maneuvers in the sea, because it's an interesting small sea which has a few littoral states. But given the recent events that has happened more than 1 year ago, of course everything stopped. You cannot move to bolster this regional ownership, especially in the security sector. So what now we are trying to do is we are trying to go back to normal position that Ukraine is still territorially integrated, it's not violated, and we again talk about principles on that. So engagement is a tool to actually convince our Russian friends, and we think that it's a must to come to terms with the internationally agreed principles. But on the other hand, of course, our commitment within NATO and our bilateral commitments are quite solid.
Let me ask a question which may be difficult, but you are a very good ambassador. I'm sure you'll find a good answer to that. The Turkish Stream, the new project with Russia, is this putting you in a I mean, not in a conflict, but how do you manage the making a project on gas with Russia now, this Turkish Stream, this interest with combating Russia when it's about violating territories or having these attitudes towards countries like Romania or Poland or other countries, Moldova, Serbia, Hungary, and so on, of not conquering them maybe military, but by being very aggressive. And you, as we mentioned, you are by far, I mean, you are the second largest army in the NATO, but you are the largest army in the region. That's why Romania, I think it counts, and I hope it counts very much on your support. The Black Sea, you have the biggest power. You are the biggest power of the Black Sea. Russia, it's still much beyond you. So how are these things going together? Making the project with Russia on gas, on the one hand.
There are some realities on the ground in terms of
what the Americans are saying about it.
Yeah. First of all, the preceding South Stream, which were ongoing before this Turkish Stream project idea came up. Turkey was never part of it, as you know.
Yes.
We were part of the Nabucco project, which unfortunately died. In the South Stream,
also because of some leaders in Europe. Yeah.
Yes, and also mostly because of lack of source countries.
Sure.
In the South Stream, when you look to the countries that are part of the South Stream, supporting them, some of them are NATO members, some of them are EU members, and we were having no share in it, in the South Stream. Then last year, it was a surprise to everyone, including to Turks and to the world as well. Russia came up with an idea of scrapping South Stream and building a new one directly to Turkey, which is called Turkish Stream.
Yes.
We are already getting Russian gas through 2 means. One, directly from the Blue Stream. We already have a pipeline. And it helped tremendously to Turkey when we have some difficulties of getting natural gas from Iran, especially during winter times. And thanks to this Blue Stream, the Russian gas coming, We survived. I mean, imagine that 3 days of shortages of heat in Turkish towns will be the end of any mayor or even government.
Yes, okay.
And the rest of the gas that we are getting from Russia is coming from the Ukrainian route from Bulgaria to Turkey, so from the western route.
Yes.
Now what Turkish Stream offers to us is that they are giving this remaining part directly to Turkey. In that sense, we are getting directly natural gas from Russia, nothing more. What will happen after Turkey? You know, it's planned to go to Greece. It is not something that we are talking and we are promoting. It's now under study and feasibility. We are not saying, well, this Turkish stream should be built and it should bypass Ukraine.
You know why I'm asking, because it's a concern of some countries in the European Union that Greece is betraying European Union and making a deal with Russia, and through you they will have let's say the source of gas coming through Turkey, and it's not your plan. I understand.
The whole pipeline is not our pipeline. I mean, it's the one that comes to Turkey from the Turkish authority. Our responsibility starts within our country. And we'll take the first phase actually that is planned. There are 4 phases. The first phase is only for our domestic consumption. Okay. We are responsible for that. But the rest is not in our total responsibility. And it's under still feasibility. If you look to our actions though, our action suggests a different perspective of how we are trying hard for Europe's energy security through differentiating the routes. It is the TANAP pipeline is a concrete testament to this. TANAP is coming from Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, and it goes will be linked to TAP, Adriatic pipeline. And the groundbreaking ceremony of this was just made last month with the participation of Romanian Energy Minister as well, His Excellency Koray. Yes. So this is the one that will diversify the route. Of course, the volume that is planned to be carried through TANAP is not that much, but it's still a significant portion of amount. And we are also trying to find an opportune moment to get natural gas from Iraq. Again, to contribute to Europe's energy security. And finally, I'm not sure when, but if one day we could solve these problems in Cyprus, you know, there are some concrete projects over there as well.
These are for the future now. I mean, these are just on paper for the moment. The plans of helping Europe to get more freedom, let's say energy freedom from Russia, or an alternative, because it's not about freedom. Now it's about freedom because they use blackmail. In my view, it's my words, not yours. Towards some countries, they are blackmailing with gas.
Normally, energy should be like a commodity.
Yes.
You pay the money, and if you like the amount, you take it and give the money. And energy should be like this for everywhere.
I agree with you.
But unfortunately, natural gas, unlike oil, for example, oil has a market, and unlike OPEC,
and you have more
kind of
sources. More sources.
Yes, you can have
choose
prices and etc. But on natural gas, it unfortunately became like this. Especially this pipeline politics became a strategic tool.
True.
And I think the real solution for this is route diversification and source diversification.
Absolutely,
and we are trying hard on this.
My only concern here was to clarify from your side. You are a NATO member. Of course, you are now one of the most important pillars of Romania and other countries in ensuring the security of the NATO members in the region. And your words, your words are very clear. That you are here to defend your let's say your allies, and I don't think it's any concern regarding you playing military with Russia. And
our
so
record is clear.
But the problem is, and the question is, and I want to clarify this because not for me, because I understand and I know all this let's say information, but in media sometimes superficial information comes and goes, and one of them was that your project with Russia now, the Turkish stream, is affecting your relationship with the United States, or is affecting your relationship with NATO. Is that a fact?
No, there is no such thing. I mean, we are having constant consultations with our allies and partners, including on Turkish stream. Just recently, there is a meeting of 6 or 7 European countries on this particular matter. Since everything is on the air, There is no concrete things still on the table.
Did any time? I'm just asking. Did ever Russia tried to use as a tool the economic affairs with you on the military side? Did they try to condition to condition you in any way?
No. Really, we have a proper relationship in that sense,
Okay.
based on our former partnership in the trade, especially. We are just working on concrete, on price, on volumes. We are talking on this. Luckily, things. We are not talking on strategic and political aspects of it. Maybe the question that you could ask, because everyone is blaming Turkey in that regard vis-à-vis Russia, is about the European Union's measures against Russia.
Yes, the measures, the economic
sanctions,
the sanctions against
yes.
Russia.
So
yes.
why doesn't Turkey go along with these sanctions? And we were blamed last year heavily on this. There were three reasons for this. One, we were not asked when these sanctions were prepared. They didn't even show the courtesy of inviting or taking opinion of Turkey, which elements we have to use in that. So we are asked to obey something that we were not taking part in its decision-making process. Secondly, when you look to the trade with Russia, it's about talking with the terms of 2013, not 14, and I will say about 14 as well. In 2013, there is a trade of about 37 billion US dollars, and only 7 billion of it is Turkish exports to Russia. The rest is our imports from Russia. And a bulk of it, about 70% of this, is energy. So a bulk of it is it's a very unbalanced relationship. And when you look to Turkish exports, it's automobile parts, fruits, and some other products as well. It's nothing that Russia could use, for offensive purposes. And after all these criticisms in 2014, our trade, without any interruption from outside, decreased 14%. So in on paper, people may criticize the country of abusing some rights, but in reality, this is not the case actually.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, first of all, let me say that I agree with you. European Union made many mistakes in approaching the crisis in Ukraine. Even though we are part of EU, I believe in the European project very much. But we criticize the EU ambassador sitting here on this chair, so I will not do it while they are not here. And we criticize them for their approach. They negotiated a peace in Minsk without asking anyone, just two powers of Europe. They put in the sanctions without asking you. So you cannot ask someone to obey some rules if you don't ask them before putting them. So, and it's more discussion about that also with your process of accession to the EU, which in my view we will discuss after the break, the commercial break, that this is absolutely outrageous. I believe that Europe is blind and it doesn't see what is happening around it, and leaving Turkey outside Europe and not making it member, it's one of the biggest mistakes of the European Union, in my view. We have one question which is very important, because we have the opportunity and the honor to discuss with you, the Turkish ambassador, about the visit of the recent visit of your president to Romania. I would like to discuss with you a little bit what were the purposes, objectives, and results, of course, of this visit. Publicitate.